It was very clear that he was different from most politicians. I hadn't really seen somebody, especially a freshman senator, with this kind of presence.
He had us call him Barack. He was casual. He would email you in the middle of the night. Generationally, he had more in common with the people who worked for him in their 20s than he did with probably the other senators in Washington.
This would have been 2005. I went to Russia and Ukraine and Azerbaijan with him. We're in the middle of Red Square, and not a single person recognizes him.
He was just a regular guy.
And then I went to Africa with him in 2006. And Robin Island, we went to Mandela's cell.
Now the advantage of this cell, unlike the cells, not only that, you've got the view of the outside. On a clear day, you could see Cape Town.
When we went to Kenya, he had this meeting with some NGOs, and word got out that he was in there. And when he emerged from this meeting, there were like thousands of people waiting to hear him say a few words. When we went to Nairobi and he gave a big speech, I got this picture of this guy writing down like the bullet points of what he was talking about. The reception at his grandmother's village was like chaotic.
Anytime I think a child comes back to his parents' grave, it makes you reflect on your own life and mortality. It makes you think about the next generation.
My wife and I are going to get tested for HIV/AIDS. So I just want everybody to remember that if a U.S. Senator can get tested and his wife can get tested, then everybody in this crowd can get tested. Because you need to know your status.
Seeing the overwhelming response that he got in Africa, I remember coming back from that trip saying that, you know, I'll bet he runs for president.
I mean, just the way people were hanging on to his every word. You could just see in people's faces that this guy was something special to them. Obviously, he was very intelligent, but I think he also had the right temperament to become president.
To me, this picture really tells a story about a young U.S. senator about to walk out, announce that he's running for president, knowing that his life will never be the same. And I think you could see that in his face. You see the anxiety in Michelle as she's trying to brush off some lint from the back of his jacket. I knew the gravity of the moment, and I knew he had a shot. I knew that once people got to see him and hear from him, that he had a shot. He had the kind of qualities within him where people would relate to him.
I stand before you today to announce my candidacy for President of the United States of America.
People forget that Hillary was so far ahead, had so many endorsements, that people thought he was like total long shot.
Doesn't Obama face a big uphill battle despite all the media attention he's getting?
He will have to deal with the issue of only 2 years in the U.S. Senate.
The media was ready to kind of write us off or put us in the barrel. It was like, no, there's this broader force out there who's not going to let that happen.
American history won't be the same again. Americans elected a young man with a young family, an African American, the first ever.
It's been a long time coming, but tonight, because of what we did on this day, in this election, at this defining moment, change has come to America.
Gibbs called me on January 5th and offered me the job. I just said to Gibbs, I said, look, here's the thing is, if I do this, I have to have access to everything. And he just said to me, President-elect gets it. There's no worries there. And I said, okay, I'll be there tomorrow. 2 days later, I met up with Obama. He walked in the room and he said, we're gonna have some fun.
Over the horizon, she's smooth sailing.
I think there was an enormous amount of respect overseas when he was elected. I think people were just excited that our country had finally put prejudice aside and elected an African-American president. And really a different kind of politician that resonated around the world.
I won't weigh you down, no honey, I won't weigh you down.
Pete was with the president all the time.
I mean, he'd start his day around 9. I'd get his schedule, but I came to learn that the schedule was really just the starting point.
All right, let's go.
I covered all the behind-the-scenes meetings, all the situation room meetings. I mean, I can't take ownership of this analogy, but imagine trying to take a sip of water from a fire hose that never shuts off.
I won't weigh you down, no honey, I won't weigh you down.
It was nonstop, every day, 24/7, always on call, always ready. That was the challenge for me for my job for 8 years.
Pete had walking pneumonia one time, and he still came to work.
I mean, if you really want to document the presidency for history, you got to be there all the time, because you can't predict when images are going to happen.
Pete really wanted to be the guy who disappears. And that's the gift when you're a White House photographer, is that the president doesn't even know you're in the room.
Occasionally, the cabinet would be gathered to present some really tough decisions to the president. You know, there'd be chatter, people commiserating. And the first sign that the president was imminent was when Pete walked in. Everything would freeze. So I don't know what it felt like for him for 8 years to have that chilling effect on every room.